At dawn, sheep grazed peacefully across the tranquil farm. From the shadowed edge of the forest, a wolf watched with hungry eyes. Spotting a discarded sheepskin nearby, he crept over and draped it over himself. He gazed into a puddle to admire his clever disguise. Confident, he slipped into the flock unnoticed and unsuspected. Soon, a young lamb wandered away from the rest. Seeing his chance, the wolf lunged, teeth sinking into wool, blood warming his teeth. However, his disguise was torn away, revealing his true identity. The flock realized the danger and scattered frantically, bleating in fear. Panicked, the wolf fled back to the woods, leaving the shredded skin behind.
Biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous for them.
And we will make America great again.
As the United States enters a momentous election season, the media has evolved into a powerful weapon for political leaders, making George Orwell's warnings about the manipulation of truth and the rewriting of reality more relevant than ever.
In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always, there will be the intoxication of power.
Today, the omnipresence of media allows those in power to shape the narrative, not only about the present, but also about history, influencing how we interpret reality itself. The media no longer reports the news. It curates it, packages it, and often distorts it to fit predetermined agendas. Political leaders armed with vast communication networks and data analytics can subtly influence public opinion, harnessing the very tools Orwell feared would erode independent thought. We stand on the cliff of this warning, where carefully crafted stories may blur the lines between truth and fabrication. Media as a tool for control, the power of media in political propaganda. Media has transformed into a battleground for public opinion, where leaders can craft narratives that serve their interests. In the United States, Donald Trump's rise to power in 2016 marked a significant shift in political campaigning. By leveraging platforms like Twitter and Facebook, Trump bypassed traditional media gatekeepers, communicating directly with millions of Americans. His unfiltered tweets dominated news cycles, allowing him to shape his narrative and engage supporters in real time. However, this strategy came with its own set of challenges. During the 2020 election, social media platforms began implementing measures to fact-check and label misleading posts, raising critical questions about information authenticity and the power dynamics at play. In contrast to Trump's approach, Vice President Kamala Harris has also utilized social media strategically. As she campaigns for the presidential election, Harris has engaged younger voters by leveraging platforms like TikTok, to connect with Gen Z culture. Her campaign has embraced viral trends and memes to create relatable content that resonates with younger audiences. This method contrasts sharply with Trump's more combative style, but highlights how both leaders manipulate media to build their narratives. While these examples illustrate distinct strategies within the US political landscape, the use of media to shape public perception is a tactic employed by leaders globally.
The American government lies. The English government lies. The Italian government, the Spanish government, the Russian government, the Spanish, the Chinese lie, 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 lie.
If you're going to remember 2 words, governments lie. 3, all governments lie.
This is no modern invention, of course. The powerful have always understood the importance of controlling information. Throughout history, leaders have controlled information to shape public perception. From Caesar in ancient Rome to totalitarian regimes in the 20th century. But never before have the tools of manipulation been so powerful, so pervasive, and so personal. In the digital age, our every online interaction becomes a data point, a tiny piece of the vast mosaic from which our manipulators craft their strategies. Today, media images can shape how people view political leaders. A photo of Donald Trump raising his hand after a reported assassination attempt might make him appear strong and resilient. This use of images to influence public opinion is common among many leaders, not just Trump. Such photos can affect how people see a leader's strength during difficult times. This shows how visual media can be a powerful tool in shaping public perception of political figures and events. Today, leaders around the world skillfully control narratives through media manipulation.
Привет, это Навальный. Приехать в Германию — это был не мой выбор. Я оказался здесь, потому что меня пытались убить. Те люди, которые сейчас обиделись на то, что они меня все-таки не убили, и я выжил, и теперь угрожают меня посадить.
In Russia, Vladimir Putin has orchestrated unyielding regulation over media, silencing non-conforming voices like Alexei Navalny, to ensure the public receives a government-aligned version of reality. In India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has leveraged social media to shape public perception, particularly during election cycles. However, concerns have been raised about media suppression under his leadership, especially during the 2002 Gujarat riots, when critics allege his administration downplayed the severity of the violence and hindered investigations. Meanwhile, China's government strictly controls media to promote its agenda and suppress dissent, evident in its handling of information about the Uyghur Muslim minority in Xinjiang. By restricting journalists, censoring online discussions, and presenting state-approved narratives, the government obscures the true extent of reported human rights violations. This exemplifies how government influence over media can manipulate public opinion and suppress vital information, ensuring the public receives a state-aligned version of reality. So it's hard to tell the difference between government-controlled media and algorithm-curated content online. Both can twist our reality, making it tough to make good choices and participate in democracy. We're stuck in a media world, shaped by unseen powers like living in the Matrix. If we can't break free from this control, how can we hope to make a difference?
Things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice. Right. You don't get the real importance. There's no freedom of choice. That's a great point. Right.
The growth of personalized content on social media brings up important questions about whether our decisions are genuinely our own or subtly guided by hidden influences like algorithms. These algorithms often create echo chambers. presenting us primarily with views that reinforce our existing beliefs.
The echo chamber is an environment much like a social media network where an individual's thoughts, beliefs and opinions are echoed back toward them, and opposing thoughts and beliefs and opinions are never seen, so you don't get the option to see them or hear them. And whether you believe in it or whether you like it or not, the echo chamber is there. So think about all your social media feeds. Big data algorithms are deciding on what content you should see based on your likes, your dislikes, your browsing history, your purchasing history, and the likes and dislikes of your friends, followers, and connections.
In echo chambers, confirmation bias leads people to interpret new information as support for their existing beliefs, while opposing views are ignored. In-group favoritism adds comfort, but limits open dialogue, which is essential for democracy.
So I first noticed this in a place I spend a lot of time, my Facebook page. I'm progressive politically, big surprise, but I've always gone out of my way to meet conservatives. I like hearing what they're thinking about. I like seeing what they link to. I like learning a thing or two. And so I was kind of surprised when I noticed one day that the conservatives had disappeared from my Facebook feed. And what it turned out was going on was that Facebook was looking at which links I clicked on. And it was noticing that actually I was clicking more on my liberal friends' links than on my conservative friends' links. And without consulting me about it, it had edited them out. They disappeared.
Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab? Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
Throughout history, authoritarian leaders have used media as a tool to shape public opinion and silence disagreement. In the early 1900s, Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi Minister of Propaganda, skillfully used radio, films and print media to spread propaganda, twist information and build strong support for the Nazi regime.
Propaganda ist eine Kunst wie die Malerei. Nicht das Bild ist von größtem Wert, das der Wirklichkeit am nächsten kommt. Nein, es ist jenes, das die größten Empfindungen auslöst.
In the Soviet Union, leaders like Joseph Stalin tightly controlled the media, using censorship and propaganda to enforce a single ideology and eliminate opposition. During China's Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, under Mao Zedong, propaganda was widely used to promote communist ideas and suppress opposing thoughts. The government controlled newspapers, books, and even art to make sure all media content supported the state's goals. Today, Xi Jinping's government in China strictly censors media to promote its policies and silence opposing views. The Great Firewall of China blocks access to foreign news and social media sites, effectively controlling what information reaches the public. These strategies show how authoritarian governments use media control to stay in power and shape public opinion. With the constant flow of media around us, voters' minds are subtly influenced, especially as we approach the important 2024 US election, featuring figures like Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. According to Freudian and Jungian psychology, our choices are often shaped by unconscious desires and universal patterns called archetypes. We might find ourselves drawn to leaders who embody the hero, fulfilling deep-seated desires for guidance and change without realizing it. Political campaigns use these ideas by portraying candidates as unifiers or champions of the people. As the election gets closer, being aware of these psychological influences is crucial to ensure that our democratic processes truly reflect the informed and independent will of the citizens. In reflecting on these dynamics, we must consider Edward Bernays' concept of the invisible government. Edward Bernays, the pioneer of public relations, coined the term invisible government communication techniques. Observing today's media landscape, this invisible hand is very much at play. subtly shaping our understanding of democracy. As Orwell warned us about the dangers of totalitarianism sought under the guise of security, where Big Brother watches every move, it becomes clear that our greatest threat may not be external forces, but our own complacency in the face of technological manipulation. The fight for true democratic choice in this digital age has only just begun. We must challenge ourselves to question not just the information we receive, but also the very systems delivering it to us. Only then can we hope to preserve democracy's essence. Otherwise, democracy's essence slips away, leaving us vulnerable in a world shaped by those who seek to control it.